There are actors who simply play heroes. And then there are those who become them. Chris Hemsworth didn't just step into the role of Thor, he embodied it. But long before the red carpets, before the hammer and lightning, there was a young man from Melbourne, a surfer, a dreamer, a storyteller at heart. This is not just the story of an actor. It's the evolution of a man who turned discipline, humor, and courage into a cinematic identity. From soap operas in Australia to billion-dollar blockbusters, Chris Hemsworth's path wasn't carved by luck. It was built through resilience, humility, and undeniable presence. This is the story of Chris Hemsworth, a journey through fame, family, and the art of becoming more than a hero. Part 1. The Australian Beginning. Before Hollywood knew his name, Australia did. Born in Melbourne in 1983, Chris grew up surrounded by nature, the vastness of the land, the ocean, and a sense of adventure that would follow him forever. Acting wasn't his first dream. Storytelling was. It was about the connection, the spark between people. He appeared on small television productions, Guinevere Jones, Neighbours, The Saddle Club. But it was Home and Away, a beloved Australian soap opera that gave him his first real audience. For 3 years, he portrayed Kim Hyde, a charming, athletic, and passionate young man, the role that would make him a local celebrity. Yet, even as his star rose on Australian TV, Chris felt something deeper calling him. The world was bigger, and so was his ambition. Part 2. Crossing Oceans. Leaving home was never easy, but Chris did it with a quiet determination. He packed a few bags, left behind the familiar beaches of Byron Bay, and landed in Los Angeles, unknown, unsure, and uninvited. The city was merciless. For every actor who made it, there were hundreds who faded into anonymity. He auditioned endlessly. Casting directors smiled politely, then forgot his name as soon as he left the room. There were moments of doubt, of wondering whether he had made a mistake, whether his dream belonged only to others. But Chris kept going, training his accent, learning the rhythm of American film culture, and sharpening his craft. He once recalled almost giving up until one audition changed everything. It wasn't for a superhero. It was for a small part in Star Trek, 2009. Just a few minutes of screen time as George Kirk. But in those minutes, the world saw something powerful. Presence, command, heart. Part 3. Becoming the God of Thunder. When Chris Hemsworth was cast as Thor in 2010, few believed he could pull it off. He was too unknown, too new, too young. But he trained like his life depended on it, not just physically, but mentally. He read mythology, studied leadership, and dove into the psychology of a God-learning humility. Then the first trailer dropped, and the world changed. Thor, 2011, didn't just introduce a superhero, it announced the arrival of a leading man with gravitas and warmth. Chris brought myth to life, combining godlike power with human vulnerability, humor, and depth. The role redefined his life. Overnight, he went from Australian actor to global icon. But fame wasn't something he wore easily. Behind the lightning and legend, he stayed grounded. A surfer from Melbourne who loved family dinners and long drives more than Hollywood parties. Part 4. The Weight of Stardom. After Thor, success came in waves. The Avengers, 2012, shattered records, uniting legends on screen and solidifying Chris as part of the greatest cinematic ensemble in modern history. But success is a double-edged sword. It brings recognition and expectation. He became one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood, yet privately, he wrestled with the idea of being typecast. Would people ever see him as anything beyond the god of thunder? To challenge that, he sought range. Snow White and the Huntsman showcased his dramatic strength, Rush revealed his emotional depth, and In the Heart of the Sea tested both his endurance and artistry. Even Black Hat showed his willingness to take creative risks. Part 5. Beyond the Hammer. By the mid-2000s, Chris had conquered the box office, but inside, he felt the urge to evolve. He began to explore new tones, stepping into comedy with confidence. Ghostbusters, 2016, allowed him to parody his own image, while Thor, Ragnarok, 2017, under Taika Waititi's direction, became a revelation. Waititi unlocked something hidden, Chris's natural comedic rhythm, his ability to laugh at himself while keeping the heart intact. Audiences fell in love with this new Thor, lighter, freer, unpredictable, and Chris himself rediscovered the joy of acting. It wasn't about proving his power anymore. It was about rediscovering his passion. That same playfulness would carry into other projects. Men in Black, International, and Extraction, both showing that beneath the physique was an actor who loved to entertain in every sense. Part 6. The Craftsman. Even with fame secured, Chris refused to settle. He began to produce his own films, collaborate closely with directors, and shape his roles from the ground up. The Extraction films, produced through his company, were more than just high-octane action. They were cinematic showcases of precision, movement, and emotional control. He trained beyond human limits, mastering combat choreography and endurance techniques that blurred the line between actor and athlete. Yet beneath the adrenaline, there was always intention, to bring authenticity to every punch, every glance, every moment of silence. His respect for the process earned him admiration not only from fans, but from the filmmakers who saw him as a true collaborator, not just a star. Part 7. The Man Behind the Strength. In 2022, Chris revealed a side of himself few had ever seen. Through the National Geographic docu-series Limitless, he explored the science of longevity, endurance, and human potential. He swam through icy waters, climbed ropes hundreds of feet high, faced hunger, heat, and fear, all in search of understanding the limits of body and mind. But the series also brought a sobering revelation: his genetic predisposition to Alzheimer's disease. For a moment, the world paused. The man who played gods was now confronting his own mortality. Yet, true to form, Chris met it with calm and courage. He spoke not of fear, but of perspective, of gratitude for every day, and the importance of family and balance. Part 8. Legacy in Motion. Today, Chris Hemsworth stands at the height of his career, yet somehow more grounded than ever. He continues to balance global stardom with the quiet rhythms of home life in Byron Bay. His roles now carry a maturity, from the evolved Thor in Love and Thunder to his nuanced work in Extraction 2. He is both an action star and a storyteller, blending mythic grandeur with human authenticity. He mentors younger actors, collaborates with his brothers, and uses his influence to promote health, sustainability, and community. For Chris, legacy isn't about fame or awards. It's about consistency, about being a good man, a good father, and a true craftsman in every frame. And that's what makes his journey ongoing. A legacy still in motion, Chris Hemsworth's story isn't finished. He continues to evolve. An artist, a father, a student of life. He's proven that true power isn't in muscles or myth, but in authenticity. He came from the quiet shores of Australia and conquered the biggest stages in the world, not by pretending to be someone else, but by learning who he truly is. And perhaps that's what makes him unforgettable. Because when the thunder fades and the lights go down, what remains is the man who never stopped believing that even gods can grow. This has been BioVault. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of the icons who shaped our world.